Welcome to today's English class, and in this class we will discuss one of the most important topics of English grammar, subject verb agreement. First I will tell you what is subject verb agreement. Subject verb agreement refers to the fact that the subject and verb in a sentence must agree in number. In other words, they both must be singular or they both must be plural. You can't have a singular subject with a plural verb or vice versa. And the tricky part is in knowing the singular and plural forms of subjects and verbs. So, first we will discuss number of subject. Singular and plural subjects or nouns are usually pretty easy. In most cases, the plural form of a noun has an F at the end like this: car, singular, cars, plural. Some subjects change in plural number. Man becomes men in plural, child becomes children in plural. Now, we will discuss number of verb. Verbs do not follow this pattern though. Adding an S to a verb does not make a plural. Here is what I mean: walk, walks. So, which one is the singular form and which is the plural form? Can you able to identify? Here is a tip for you. Ask yourself, which would you use with the word they and which would you use with he or she? He walks, she walks, they walk. Since he and she are singular pronouns, walks is a singular verb. The word they is plural, so walk is a plural form of verb. One thing that I want to tell you as well, each verb in its root form is plural in number, and to make it singular we have to use s or es along with it. Now, we will discuss some basic rule of subject verb agreement. Here it is: singular subject takes singular verb and plural subject takes plural verb. This is the most commonly used rule on subject verb agreement and will serve your purpose on most occasions. Let us try to understand it through examples. First is here: Rama blinks every few seconds. In this sentence, Rama, it is a singular subject followed by a singular verb, blinks. In the next sentence, Rama and her friend blink every few seconds. So, in this sentence we can see our subject is plural in number. So, it is followed by a plural verb, blink. He eats frequently, that is why he is obese. So, in this sentence he, it is a singular subject followed by a verb eats, that is also singular. The siblings eat frequently, that is why they are obese. The siblings, it is our plural subject followed by a plural verb eat. Now, we will discuss some exceptions to this rule as well. Here it is, exception number 1: singular subjects I and you take plural verbs. Examples: I blink every few seconds, you eat frequently, that is why you are obese, I have refused to participate in the event. Here we can see the subjects I and you, though they are singular in number, take plural verbs. Now, exception number 2: this rule does not apply to simple past tense without helping verbs. The student made merry in absence of the teacher, the students made merry in absence of the teacher. We can easily see in the first sentence our subject is singular, and the second sentence the subject is plural in number, but it does not affect the verb made. Now, exception number 3: this rule does not apply to following helping verbs when they are used with a main verb: will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must. Here are the examples: he must go to the college today, we must go to the college today. In the first sentence our subject he, it is singular. In the second sentence our subject we, it is a plural one, but it does not affect the verb must. Let us know more about subject verb agreement. If two or more singular subjects are connected by and or both, they usually take a plural verb. For example, Anshuman and Raj are playing cricket. In this sentence, we are having two singular subjects joined with and hence it takes a plural verb are. Now, the next example, both Madhu and Madhuri sing well. Rule number 2. If there is no pronoun or article after the conjunction between two nouns, it refers to the same person and therefore should take a singular verb. For example, the great leader and philosopher is dead. In this sentence, we are having two singular subjects joined with and there is no article or pronoun just after the conjunction, and both the subjects refer to the same person and hence it takes a singular verb is. Now, the next example, the reporter and writer has reached the venue. Here we are having two singular nouns, reporter and writer, and both the nouns refer to the same person and hence it takes a singular verb. Here a person who is having a profession of a reporter as well as a writer has reached the venue. Now, rule number 3. If there is a pronoun or an article after the conjunction between two nouns, they refer to two different persons and therefore should take a plural verb. For example, a guitarist and a drummer have agreed to be chief guests. This rule is just the opposite rule of the previous one. And here we can see in the example, a guitarist and a drummer, there are two singular subjects joined with and, but there is an article just after the conjunction and hence both the nouns refer to two different individuals and it takes plural verb. Now, another example is here, a bird watcher and a conservationist address the club members every weekend. Rule number 4. If two subjects together express a single idea, the verb is singular. For example, the long and short of the matter is that she has decided to leave. In this sentence, the long and short express a single idea. Now, the next example, rock and roll is something he cannot live without. Rule number 5. With the words like each, either, each one, everyone, neither, everybody, anyone, anybody, somebody, nobody, someone, the verb is used usually singular. For example, every person in the class was shocked. Each of the students in the class was asked to recite a poem. Rule number 6. Two or more singular subjects connected by or, nor, either or, neither nor take a verb in the singular. For example, no man or woman was in sight. But do remember here, while adding these conjunctions to two singular nouns, we have to keep in our mind that both the nouns must be singular. Here we can see in the example, no man or woman. So, here we are having two singular subjects, man or woman, and thus it takes a singular verb. Here are two another examples, either Neha or Disha was allowed to go home. Neither Ramesh nor Suresh likes chocolates. Now, rule number 7. When the subjects are connected by or, nor, neither nor, either or, and the subjects take different person or number, the verb agrees in person or number with the nearest subject. For example, either he or I am to blame for this mistake. In this sentence, we are having two subjects that are different in person. He is the third person pronoun and I is the first person pronoun. I is the subject that is near to the verb, and that is why we have placed am according to I. Now, the next example, neither Richa nor her roommates are attending the concert. In this sentence, we are having two subjects, Richa and her roommates, and that are different in numbers. Richa is a singular number subject and her roommates, it is a plural number. Her roommates is the subject that is near to the verb, and that is why we have placed are according to her roommates. Hence, the sentence is neither Richa nor her roommates are attending the concert. Rule number 8. A collective noun takes a singular verb when the collection is taken as a unit, but a plural verb is used when the collection is thought of as a separate entities or individuals. For example, the jury were divided in their decision. In this sentence, the jury has been taken as separate entities or individuals. Now, the next example is here. The committee has given a unanimous decision. In this sentence, the committee has been taken as an unit. Rule number 9. When the subject is the name for a single object or a collective unit, it takes a singular verb. For example, the Jataka Tales is an interesting read. Another example is here. The Netherlands is a prosperous country. Rule number 10. Nouns that are in the plural form but are singular in meaning, such as news, mathematics, physics, mumps, take a singular verb. For example, the news is not pleasant. Mathematics is my favorite subject. Rule number 11. Class names such as furniture and stationery take a singular verb. For example, the stationery is in the drawer. The furniture is being delivered tomorrow. Now, rule number 12. When plural number applies to distances, heights, weights, or an amount of money, it is taken as a whole and a singular verb is used. For example, 10,000 rupees is what he owes me. Here, 10,000 rupees, it's a plural one, but it has been taken as a whole amount. So, that's why it has been followed by a singular verb is. Now, another example is here. 52 kilometers is a long distance. So, here 52 meters, it has been taken as a whole distance. So, that is why it has been followed by a singular verb. Now, rule number 13. Words such as scissors, shoes, trousers and spectacles generally take a plural verb. For example, my shoes are dirty. We cannot say my shoes is dirty. We have to say my shoes are dirty. Her spectacles are missing. But exception is here. You can use pair of to refer to a particular example of nouns that have two identical parts. Few examples of nouns with two identical parts: shoes, pants, shorts, earrings, gloves, glasses and binoculars. Examples: my new pair of jeans isn't a good fit. The brown pair of shoes on the top shelf is too expensive. But when you use singular verbs with such subjects, you have to remember we have to use pair of along with it. Now, the rule number 14th. Use a singular verb form after none when the word means no one or not one. Examples: I have been looking for inspiration, but none has struck so far. None of us is perfect. None was injured in the accident. So, in these three sentences, none has been taken as no one or not one. However, use a plural verb when none suggests more than one thing or person. Example: I have been looking for ideas to start a business, but none have struck so far. In this sentence, none has been taken more than one thing or more than one idea. Now, rule number 15. Use a plural verb form in a relative clause following one of or a similar expression when the relative is the subject. Get it very clear. Examples: he is one of those guys who have never cheated in exams. So, here those guys and not he is the matching subject here. So, we have to follow those guys, and that is why we have placed have according to those guys. Now, the next example is here. One of the findings of the recent experiments that were published in the last edition of the journal particularly stands out. In this example, recent experiments were published and hence a plural verb. Now, the next example is here. One of the findings of the recent experiments was published in the last edition of the journal. In this sentence, we have to remember that one of the findings was published, not all. So, hence it is a singular verb. Rule number 16. Uncountable nouns usually take singular verbs. As the name suggests, uncountable nouns can't be counted. Example: hair, milk, water, butter, honey, syrup. Examples are here. Milk is not one of my favorite foods. Honey is dripping from his hand. Rule number 17. Abstract nouns usually take singular verbs. Examples: truth eventually prevails. The fragrance of this perfume is so overpowering. Now, the 18th rule. Expressions representing portion such as one-third of, majority of, part of take a singular verb if a singular noun follows, and take plural verb if plural noun follows. Examples are here. Nearly half of the work remains unfinished. In this sentence, we are having the expression half of, and it has been followed by the work, that is singular noun. That is why it has been followed by a singular verb, remains. In the next example, barely 10% of the road has been laid so far. So, here percent of, it has been followed by the road, that is a singular subject. So, that is why we have placed has, that is a singular verb. Now, one-third of the students were absent today. Watch carefully this sentence. In this sentence, we are having one-third of expression, and it has been followed by the subject, the students. The students, it is plural in number, so that is why it has been followed by a plural verb, were. In the next sentence, majority of the cabs are off street today because of strike. Another example is here, majority of the voters haven't yet voted. Now, that is all about this class. I hope that all of you have got some valuable teachings through these lessons, and I hope that you will learn it and improvise your writing skills and grammar knowledge. Okay, see you soon in the next class. Bye bye, take care.